What is Scrabble? Scrabble is a word game in which 2 to 4 players score points by forming words from individual lettered tiles on a game board divided into a 15 by 15 grid of squares. Using 100 letter tiles, where each letter corresponds a certain number of points, except for the 2 blank tiles, which can be a replacement to any letter, but are equal to 0. Players often count tiles at 2 different times. First, before a game begins to ensure that there are 100 tiles. And next, near the end of the game, when knowing exactly how many tiles remain to be played can be crucial for the astute player.
Here are some important terms and rules in playing Scrabble. Bingo, any word play that uses all 7 letters on the rack, earning a bonus of 50 points. Blocking, the act of playing a word on the board that stops the opponent from making a potentially large score. It also refers to the act of playing words that make it harder for either player to score many points. Challenge, when an opponent calls a challenge when he thinks a play is not acceptable, example, not in the OWL or Merriam-Webster Collegiate Dictionary, 11th edition. A word judge is called to verify which words are acceptable or not. Whenever there is a challenge, someone loses one turn. Double-double, when a player makes a play with letters that cover 2 double word squares. The bonus for covering 2 double word squares one play, quadruple the sum of the value of the letters of the double-double word. End game, the portion of a Scrabble game when there are less than 7 tiles left to draw from the bag. Hook letter, aka hook, a letter that will spell a new word when it is played with in the front of or at the end of a word already on the board. Example, with hard on the board, the letter Y is a hook letter since hardy is acceptable. Likewise, the letter C can be hooked, since charred is acceptable. Passing, a player may pass his/her turn by not exchanging tiles and not making a play on the board. The player scores 0 and says pass, and starts opponent's timer. Rules in playing Scrabble. All tiles should be placed in a letter pouch or placed face down on the table beside the board. Ensure that letters are well mixed, and that players do not know which letter is in a particular spot. To determine who goes first, each player draws a letter, the player with the letter closest to A goes first. The blank tile automatically goes first. Ensure you thoroughly remix the tiles before drawing letters. Each player draws 7 letters and places them on his or her letter rack. There are 3 main steps to a turn. Play a word. Total the score for that word. Draw tiles to replace the tiles played. The first player must play his or her first word on the center square of the board, the spot that has a star on it. All words must be 2 or more letters long. Words are played either vertically or horizontally. Diagonal word play is not permitted. Play always moves clockwise, to the left. Each player must play off of words already present on the board. This may involve changing existing words, for example, making the word play into player, or by incorporating a letter into the word you are playing. You can place letters in both directions on a single turn. The letters placed must form complete words. Anytime 2 or more letters touch, they must form valid, legal words. For example, if you add an S to an existing word to make it plural and then build a separate word from that S in the opposite direction, you will get full credit for both words. No tile can be moved or shifted once it is played, bearing a successful challenge. Whenever a word is played, other players may challenge the word if they do not believe it is a real word or it is spelled wrong. According to Scrabble rules, players should agree before the game begins on the dictionary that they will use. If you want to challenge an opponent's word, you must challenge it before the play moves on to the next player. If the challenged word is not legal, the tiles must be returned to the player's hand and that player loses the turn. If a word is challenged and it is legal, the challenger loses his or her next turn. If multiple words are made in a turn, all words are challenged when one word is challenged. If any of the words are not legal, all tiles will be returned to their owner's hand and that player loses his or her turn. The dictionary should only be consulted if a word is actually challenged and should never be used before a word is played for verification purposes. Scorekeeping. One player should be elected as the scorekeeper. The scorekeeper should double-check the tally for each word. Each letter tile has the value of that letter. Unless the tile is on a premium letter square, these should be counted at face value and totaled for the word. Winning the game. When one player plays his or her last tile, and no more tiles are available to draw, the game is over per Scrabble rules. Any remaining tiles should be subtracted from that player's score. The player with the highest score wins the game. You may opt to allow each player one turn to attempt to play as many of his or her remaining tiles as possible.